Well, well, well. Good morning, evening, afternoon. It's 12:44 a.m. I fell asleep watching, or I shouldn't say watching, listening to my friends on Double Dutch Radio, um, like somewhere in the second half of the program. And I only slept about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then I woke up and I've not been able to get back to sleep since before 10 o'clock actually around 10 o'clock. And so here I am doing the video for the 2nd of February, Sunday. And the title is Why Do I Care What People Think? I've been feeling sad for the past few days because I'm letting other people's opinions get to me. I know what other people think of me is none of my business, right? Still, it bothers me that people like Pieta Morgan and others who have been inside the SwissIndo family paint a picture as if we are somehow selling out the human race. In my heart, I know this is far from the truth. Yet some people seem to delight in throwing rocks without having all the facts. They jump to conclusions based on limited information, disinformation, and programming. They cannot see or feel what I do, or others I know who are working hard on behalf of humanity to steer the changes we are facing in a direction that will benefit everyone except those who are hell-bent on creating hell on earth. We are not afraid to speak the truth and challenge those we perceive as setting traps. It makes it even more difficult when our friends attack us as traitors. I should not let it bother me, but it does. I forgot a letter here. Okay. Yeah. I could almost stop right there because that says it all. I do understand, though, that when people see something connected to the UN or they see something connected to kings or Illuminati bloodlines or apparent hierarchies, when they see things connected to money and what seems like old systems, and they've been brainwashed by people like, who was that guy, that the video that I watched? I'm not even going to try to find it. Somebody posted a video on my Facebook wall earlier today, or yesterday actually. It was only, I don't know, half an hour or so long. And it's a guy that's really well spoken. And I've watched other of his videos before. And he's really good at highlighting the problems. He's very weak on actually giving solutions. He says the two religions we've got to get rid of are authority and money. But he made absolutely no suggestions on how we're supposed to get from living in a world where authority has been very dominant in human consciousness and where money is the way that we do everything. Everything, from goods to services to everything, costs money. Now, how do we get from that culture that we've been in without destroying the whole planet or just trying to escape from the planet? And that's what a lot of people, a lot of spiritual people want to do. They want to just simply escape. They don't want to heal anything. They don't want to take the shadow elements and the parts of humanity that have been wounded and have therefore wounded others and help them heal. They think because Mr. Sino is the king of kings and he's in the bloodline lineage to Solomon, that somehow makes him evil or suspect. From what I've gathered about him before I met him briefly in that couple-hour conference on the internet, I don't buy in to anything other than he wants to do the best for humanity. And as I've said other times, I believe there are other people that have been part of the elite establishment, if you will, who really do also want to do the right thing. Not everybody is totally sick, and all of us are sick to some degree. And we've allowed the programming, I should say, the mind control to blind us sometimes to possible solutions where we end up sabotaging ourselves and each other by divide and conquer techniques, which have always been used by the human ego and by its embodiment in the establishment itself of governments. It has always used the divide and conquer mentality. They divide us, and then they conquer us, and we are defeated. And that's exactly what continues to happen, even among people who with all of our hearts want positive change. I would never, and neither would other people that I know ever, sell out humanity for any reason. None of us that have been aligned with the principles of God, sky, earth, none of us have received any monies. None of us have. We've worked tirelessly for a long time to help build a bridge that will take us into a world where everyone's human rights are honored, where everyone is able to access their value, where everyone is able to grow and to learn and to incorporate truth that would actually reprogram all of us to freedom. Most human beings couldn't handle freedom right now. That's the sad truth. But many of us that want freedom so badly, we obviously can't allow ourselves to see the bigger picture. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. When I first learned certain things about SwissIndo, I was troubled too, because I'm part of the same programming many of you have received. Don't trust the government, don't trust people with money, don't trust the establishment, don't trust attorneys, don't trust. Well, if we keep not trusting, are we not creating, or at least sustaining, the reality that we say we don't want? When are we going to learn to trust the good that's in people, even in those that seem to be dark workers? When are we going to start feeding and nurturing the best that's in humanity, instead of keep bringing up the worst and attacking people that are trying to fix that? I don't get it, folks. I'm sorry, but I don't understand why people can't see what I see. And I know. Ron, get over it. You can't control what other people see, what they think, what they feel. You have no control in it. And I know that. And I don't want to control anybody. I really don't. I want us all to be free. I want us to all be able to celebrate life and stop suffering at the hands of each other. It's not even them. It's not them. It's us. We attack each other, even in the community that sees the problem and wants change. And you may think we can just jump into a world where there's all of a sudden no money. But I'm telling you, I have friends that live basically with no money, and they constantly need the people around them that have money to support them, because that's the world we live in. They don't accomplish a thing for themselves because they've dropped out, and they become not interdependent but dependent on other people's ability to still get money, because that's the world we live in. And we still live in a world where people need to be governed. I know that may sound like a cop-out, but it's not. There are lots of people that would be totally lost if all of a sudden they had freedom. They would be totally lost. Just like people when they were released from the concentration camps after the Second World War. They didn't trust anybody because they had been so wounded. And it was really hard for them to accept the fact that now you can go home, or now you can build a new life. They'd been in captivity, some of them so long, that they didn't know what to do. And that's the situation that the entire human family faces. We've been in this slavery system for a really long time. And the only way, as I see it, the only way we're going to get out is not by abandoning the rudiments of the system, but by repurposing them. Repurposing government, repurposing money, repurposing institutions, and repurposing. I don't even want to use corporations, because I think the biggest thing we've got to get rid of is corporations. Corporations cannot be allowed to exist anymore. How we get there is by changing them over into CVACs, making the people that are in the corporations accountable. And if they're unwilling to be accountable, then they have to go through a process of learning how to become accountable, because we're all accountable to ourselves and to each other. We really are. And none of us that are working for the positive change are doing it to try to trap humanity. We've grown enough and we've seen enough to know what many of the problems are. And we are able to recognize those problems when they arise within our own midst, and when they seem to come in from outside. We're able to focus on the problem and address it truthfully and with compassion. We're not trying to destroy anybody. We're not trying to hurt anybody. In fact, we want to do, we have an attitude of beneficence, and that's not even the word that I'm trying to find. But we want to benefit humanity, all humanity. We want to benefit the earth, the entire planet, and all life on the earth. And we're not going to immediately agree and wipe away all differences, but we at least need to listen to one another and stop throwing rocks. It hurts when those of us that are trying so hard to do the right thing get attacked by those who are clueless, who are absolutely clueless about things that we know. And man, I wish we could be totally transparent. I wish we could. I mean, I too am under somewhat of a gag order where things are tightened up, and there's certain things that cannot be said yet. And I listen to channeled messages. Blossom Goodchild, for example, has been having some really good dialogues with her entities this year. She's telling the truth. And she's saying, look, you don't have any clue, like Bashar. You're clueless when you say, and you just pontificate and tell us how we're supposed to be, when you've never had the human experience yourself and you're not in our shoes. Blossom Goodchild is doing a damn good job of challenging those that she's channeling. And this is a good thing. And if speaking of ETs, and I'll probably do a whole video on this, but speaking of ETs, if they really want to help us, I believe they've helped us by stopping World War III, by stopping atomic weapons from being used on a massive scale. But let them really start changing and messing with the communication systems of the world. Like maybe even have internet service providers on motherships so that we can not have challenges in our communication so that things don't get shut down. Let them create a worldwide Facebook that's not blocked and not controlled by corporations and by people that work for the NSA or other government three-letter agencies. That would be very helpful, don't you think? I've made that request of ETs. Not that I've ever had any real contact with ETs in that I've seen them. I've never had what I forget what that movie was, the experiences of the third kind or whatever kind it was. I don't know. You people will know, but I don't know in this moment. I've never had that kind of experience, but I have asked for help from the angelic or extraterrestrial realm, because we're not going to do this alone. I'm not asking them to save us and to do it for us, but I am asking for assistance, and I think we all need to do that. We all need to talk to whatever we call God and ask for help to make this transition as fast as possible. I still have friends, a very good friend, that says, Ron, it's not going to happen. I know you're idealistic, but it's not going to happen in your lifetime. And she's been saying that to me for a long time. And I'm tired of even keeping friendships up with people that I feel I'm hurting because they want to change me. They don't get it. They don't get where I'm coming from. And sometimes even in environments that have nurtured me in the past, they're not nurturing me anymore. And I don't want to hang around with people that don't nurture me, because I'm out on a limb with a lot of other people trying to turn the world around and to right many of the wrongs as we can, and to create a system, yes, a system that will be a bridge from the system that we've known, the dark slavery system that we've all grown up in, and create a system where we can actually grow up together, and we can be compassionate, and we can emphasize the things that are love-based rather than fear-based. This is where many of us are going. We're not trying to sell you out, folks. We're trying to help the best we can. And we don't believe, like so many of you may believe, that we can just jump from where we've been to where we'd like to be. We realize that there's a process involved, as Aristo and many others have said. We've got to process all the wounds that are deep. We've got to heal the shadow elements in ourselves individually and collectively. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Namaste in Lakesh.